for Sean Mackey to strike! It's Calvin Miller up against McGowan. Miller sends it in! It's Miller time, baby! Champions again! Falkirk have broken through the glass ceiling! After 15 years in the wilderness, Falkirk Football Club is once again a Premiership club!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue, are you?
It was Oasis last week and now it's AC/DC that are in Scotland, and after that game against Celtic, let's use one of their immortal lines, which we discovered on Friday night. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Yep, hello, welcome to Falkirk Daft. I am your host John McNeilage, and with me as ever, the ginger god of pod himself, the one-man band in the main stand, it's Ross Wayne.
Good evening, mate. That sounds really poetic. I quite like that line.
Yeah, it's a long way. It is a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, and I think over the last few weeks we've certainly discovered that as a support, and there's been a bit of realisation, I think, amongst everyone. There's been a lot of moaning. We'll talk about that as we get into the Celtic game. But yeah, listen, we are, we're back in the big time, and it is going to be a hard journey to get to establish ourselves. And it's people keep asking you, what would be, coming. And I think the realisation is like there was talk about, we can maybe finish top 6, blah blah blah. I think the realisation is now 10th would be like winning the league.
I think most people probably thought 10th would be the goal. I think before a ball's kicked, all you can really think about is like the teams that we've played so far, such as Celtic last year, Hearts, Dundee United, things like that. Listen, I don't actually feel too bad after Friday night.
I don't either. It's 100% what I expected. We talked about.
Well, Celtic were better than they were last year,
yeah.
And we probably didn't have as good a game as we did last year.
Yeah.
So when you throw those two things into the mix, like people were moaning, and I don't think you're a great game, and we will definitely talk about it. Like I thought Alfie kind of struggled in the most, but then he was up against Kieran Tierney. Whereas last year he was up against, what was it? Was his name Val?
Barcelona. He was a left back for Barcelona, to be fair. But
he's not better than Tierney. So when you look at these little things, so yeah, I like that poetic line. I saw something last night as well, and I thought, and I've taken note of it because I thought this summed up Friday night, right? The dildo of consequences rarely arrives lubed. Now, for me on Friday, that was how that.
and now we have our episode title for this week: the dildo of consequences.
It rarely arrives lubed, and I saw that and I thought, actually, that sums Friday night up perfectly.
You were. We'll get talking about the game with our guest pundit Alan McNeilage in just a bit. And I'm sitting here right now, and like I was just going to. Usually at this point we do club news, and there's very little going on, Ross. I mean, we are on our eyes for that pen emoji, really, at the moment. As John said, we are needing bodies in. Like, we'll get into it when we speak to Alan, but there's a big discussion to be had about what we need in the door. But yeah, there's not a lot of club news. The Hibs game will be rescheduled. We're recording this on a Sunday evening. Hibs have just beaten Livingston. Now, the thought was that potentially, because obviously they progress in Europe, the game will now be postponed next weekend, so we've got a free weekend next weekend.
Yeah.
So the thought was if Livingston were to beat Hibs this afternoon, we might have played that on the Saturday of the quarterfinals.
Yes, so it's the 20th of September. However, as we now know, Hibs are through. In retrospect, though, this might help us a little bit if we're talking about small advantages, because they're obviously playing European games coming up. They've got league games coming up. They'll have this extra cup game. I believe it is going to be one of the midweeks in September that we will play Hibs in this rearranged game. So it's an extra game for them that they need to play. So listen, it's a small thing, and it may make absolutely zero difference to us. However, small margins, you never know.
Yeah, of course. So we'll wait and find out when that's rescheduled. Tickets are on sale, however, for Aberdeen, which is 2 weeks away now. Away at Pittodrie, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff on the Sunday. a pain in the arse on a Sunday to get up and down. Ross, you're jumping on the behind the wall bus, though, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, seats are booked. So, yeah, looking forward to it. It's been ages since I've been to Pittodrie. Well, it would have been that last season we played them in the Premiership, which was what 2010.
Yeah.
So a long time ago. I don't think Pittodrie's probably changed any in that time, but it is always a good away day. I know it's a Sunday, so it's probably not. It's not going to be as good as a Saturday.
I know. I think I'm going because I said I will make a trip to Pittodrie this season, but I think I'm going to save it a week and like do the train, do it properly on the Saturday.
Proper long day.
Proper away day on the Saturday. And do it that way rather than the Sunday 3 o'clock kickoff, which is no good for me.
It's an up and down for me.
Obviously
behind the walls, which they're advertising seats. So if you need seats, get
there you go. It's £20 return on the behind the wall bus. Ross has booked his seats as well.
£20 for adults, £5 for children return to Aberdeen. So get involved and so it's a straight up and down for me with it being a Sunday as well. But I still think there'll be a big Falkirk crowd because it's one of the away days that you look forward to.
Yeah.
Granted, it would have been better on the Saturday, but I still think. But did we get 1,200 tickets? I think those will sell out. I don't envisage.
Oh, was it only 1,200 we got for it? I
think it was 1,200 with an additional 300 should we need it.
Okay.
So I think we may well need that.
Yes. I think they just like you're saying the kick-off time in the Sunday afternoon, like when people have got work on the Monday and stuff like that trip up and down, it kind of puts people. That's what certainly is put me off it. So I'll hopefully watch that on the old television, but make a proper away day of it when we face them again. I think it's
train up early doors, John, like 6:30 in the morning or something.
That's what we're talking about exactly. Do it properly. We'll preview the Aberdeen game on next week's show, on the Thursday show. There's no Thursday show this week, obviously, with a free week, so you're only getting the review show this week. So we'll get into the Celtic game. But talking about behind the wall, thanks as ever for their sponsorship. I was in there last night. I don't know how I managed to lose my wallet, but the fantastic bar staff behind the wall said, "John, you've lost your wallet," and found me and brought it back to me. I don't know how I managed to do it. But there we go. So thank you so much. As ever, the staff are brilliant and behind the wall. We all know that. And of course, they've got the Falkirk's best selection of fine wines, lagers, craft and cask ales. I had an Apocalypsa last night, IPA. Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
Loads of people have been drinking that actually. So I have seen a lot of people talking about that, and if they're posting it on socials, that's what they've been going for.
It's class, absolute class. I had a pint of that last night before wandering down the road. But stay local, eat and drink global at Behind the Wall. They've got a Tri-Cara whisky tasting happening on the 29th of August. What the Funk one more time is going to be in there on the 30th of August because they're celebrating the 40th birthday Behind the Wall this year. So this is the classic club night that used to be in there, and it's 11 years later, so that's going to be happening on the 30th of August. Also Blondie tribute band Sunday Girl, Friday 12th of September, that is happening, and there's a punk night on the 13th of September, class of 79. I know for a fact there'll be some well-kent Falkirk faces at that punk gig for sure. Possibly me being one of them as well, because
find out what happened to the psychic. Did we predict?
No, that's actually the bold. Was it Jim Clark or whoever? Was it?
We need to find out where he said that we were going to finish.
Yeah, true. We'll need to look into that. And of course, Falkirk Daft Carling coach for home games, and it'll be a wee while for the home games. £5 for home games, and you get a pint of Carling on return. You can check out all the details you want at behindthewall.co.uk. Loads of stuff coming up there. Let's get into, because we've not got the preview show this week, let's get into Birthday Corner, Ross. Mm-hmm. And first of all, a happy birthday to Flynn Gray, who is, his birthday is this week. It's Thursday the 21st. He is celebrating his birthday. He's going to be 25, and that's from Evan Harrison. I've been told it's not pronounced Wally, it's pronounced Wally, like the Disney Pixar character. So that's happy birthday, Flynn, 25 this Thursday. You've got a couple more,
We do, yes. So, I don't think he's been on the podcast actually, or maybe he has. Thinking back, so happy birthday to Jason Cherry, who's one of the main men in the Ultras, Gate 20, and that's from all of the boys. And We've also got a shout out for one of our mates from a long time ago, Graham Lyon. He's 44, just turned 44.
Happy birthday, Goof.
Exactly, and that's for all the Falkirk boys there as well. And I think there's one more. Yes, it is. So, and this is from Chris McCready. So, hi guys, one for birthday corner. It was my lad Travis's 11th birthday on Friday. So, we'd love for you to give him a big happy birthday from all the family. So, happy birthday, Travis.
Happy birthday to you. And Bairns' birthday's this week on Tuesday. Liam Dick, obviously, I think he's now just went to Ayr, hasn't he? He's signed on at Ayr, Liam Dick.
Yeah, I think he has.
Guess age of Liam Dick without looking at the plan in front of you.
Well, wait now, let me work it back. So 2011, I don't know, 30, 33, 34?
30. Just about to turn 30, there you go.
Oh, there we go. I was thinking, because remember he broke through, it was like 2011 or 2012 or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, he's done well for himself.
He has done Robbie much as well. Robbie is at Cove Rangers now. Robbie is going to be 27 on Wednesday, as is Flash in the Pan, Big Star signing, Lee Griffiths. What age do you think Lee Griffiths is now? This is a great question because he looks fucking ancient.
He's probably not as old as this, but I'll go 38.
35.
Is he?
Is that a tough paper round, eh? Tough paper round.
He does look older than that.
Let's see a blast for the past year. Birthday on Friday, Colin McKee.
Right, that's late 90s. That would have been Colin McKee. So we signed him from
Kilmarnock.
Was he not like an ex-Man U youngster or something?
Yeah. Because he was at Kilmarnock. I think under Totten actually did pretty well there, and then came a bit of a flash in the pan at Falkirk. I don't think he was wrong. We talked about Paul Wright last week, and classic Falkirk player, one of the absolute fans' favourite, John Baird.
Oh, I love John Baird. Yeah, he honestly just worked his absolute socks off. And he's over in Australia now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a manager. In fact, I believe he took Lee Griffiths over to Australia as a player when he was managing over there. Yeah. So John Baird's turning 40. There you go, the big 4-0 for Bairdo.
Oh, he's a good lad.
There you go. That's all the Bairns' birthdays for this week. Before we get into the Celtic game, though, we've got to say thanks to another one of our sponsors. That's the Football Fans in Training. Hook up with Ian, Wally and Dougie and all the gang at the stadium. Wednesdays 8:30 to 9:30. They've been going for about 10 years now, the T8s and the Falkirk Football Fans in Training. They're set up as Elite, Academy and Legends. And they're basically more new news is coming soon about an inaugural Kelpies tournament. So if you want to get involved with the boys, contact the Facebook page. The links are below. And as we say, they're just making memories through football. It's like they're a great bunch of guys. I'd love to get along and play at some point with them. And I'll have to arrange that and get down for it. I don't know if I qualify. I don't, because I found out. So I was speaking to Josh Letham, who's a well-kent face around the town. Does Manicky DJing, was DJing behind the wall last night. I was speaking to Josh and I said, "Are you playing football this weekend?" He said he's been cut because he's too lightweight now. He's lost too much weight. So Josh has had to be cut from the team because he's lost too much weight.
Well, listen, good on him for doing that. But obviously, yeah, I don't think he'd qualify there if that's the case. Yeah, plus, if I'm being honest, I think you would get halved constantly.
There is that.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll definitely have to get down for a game at some point. No, so yeah, get down to the boys Wednesday 8:30, 9:30 down at the stadium. All the details are in the bio below. Right, let's get into it then. Let's talk about Celtic. I think there's a lot to go through this week on it, and let's do it in the company of our guest pundit this week. It's Alan McNeilage. How are you, Alan?
I'm good, thanks, boys. Yous?
Good, mate. Good.
Not bad at all, mate. Not bad at all. This first time debut on Falkirk Daft, Alan?
It is, aye. Ross has had me wanting to go on a few times, so...
Well,
tonight's the night.
Glad you've finally made it on. I wish we were talking about a victory, but ho-hum. Those days are long gone.
They're long gone now, aye. You're right.
So we're back to being moaning Falkirk supporters. Alan, listen, let's just find out about your Falkirk story then. How did you end up supporting Falkirk, and what was your kind of first memories?
Basically, my uncle was born and brought up in Falkirk. Took my dad along. Thought, do you know what? I think I would like that. Took me along, and after the first game, that was me hooked. To be fair, first game was St Mirren away, actually. After that. Just absolutely loved it. Love Street, that's right. Two straw. I think it was around about 87. So, aye, it was enough of that. Just every game, coming away, loving it. So,
listen, we need to tell John your claim to fame though, because he's got a claim to fame at the house. John McNeilage. I'll let Alan tell it because it's a belter.
It is a bit of a belter, I suppose. Aye. There's two Brockville gates kick about. One is at the stadium that we brought through the whole Brockville down to the stadium. The other one's actually in my back garden.
How have we got two Brockville gates?
Well, the story goes that for my 40th, which was nearly 10 years ago, I had a party, and the boys that I kick about with kind of made one for me.
Oh, amazing.
So it was kind of in the hall at the time at the L1 in Greensmouth. At my party, all covered up. Didn't know what it was. So it sits outside and it's a private place in the garden at the minute. John,
it's like an exact replica as well.
You're right, Ross, it's an exact replica. Now, Leslie Stubbart, who I believe you'll probably know, works at the stadium, knows one of my pals. So he got the sort of dimensions, the colours, and all that for Alex Totten, and the club approved to make it to the exact size, so it's exactly the same as the one that we've got at the stadium.
Amazing.
Brilliant. Love that. Listen, we've been asking random questions as the season progressed, but I've taken it to the next level. You're my guinea pig for this, Alan. So I have got
not a problem.
The Falkirk Daft bucket hat here, and in this Falkirk Daft bucket hat I've got a variety of Falkirk questions. I'm going to pull one out at random, right, and I'm going to get you to answer it, okay? So we're going to rummage about in the Falkirk Daft random question hat. I'll have to think of a better name for it, but at the moment it's the random Falkirk Daft bucket hat question hat. Right, okay. We're going to pull it out, and the question is, what's your favourite Falkirk goal?
Oh, what? Well, over sort of 37, 38 seasons, I've seen a few. I'd probably say Simon Stengels for the halfway line at McDermott Park.
Did you witness that?
I did. I was there.
Wow.
I was there. I probably would say that, to be fair.
Better than McGuffey's?
Aye. Just because we'd conceded a penalty about 2 or 3 minutes before.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe for the restart even. And we went out of Parton. Obviously Simon scored, and great goal.
That's a tough question. Like, if you
think it's a very tough question, Ross.
That we've scored over the years. That is a belter. Have you got one in your head, John? Have you got a favourite?
I don't know. I think there's so many good ones. I mean, just think. I think I loved Ken McAllister's against Hearts in the semi-final. Just the jinking on. You can go back to Crunchies against Huntly as well, where he beat just about every man in the park. McGuffey's from the halfway line was inside his own half. Do you know what I mean? That was pretty special. And the fact he scored a hat trick was incredible as well. Because it was Craig McGuffey, it would be shuffled away, and because it was against like Peterhead. But it's a great question. What about you, Ross? You got any in particular?
Well, Crunchy against Hearts is probably. I think it has to be just because of the run, the finish. It was a big game. He then runs over at the crowd, and it was just phenomenal. The only other one that I think is a contender, and this will maybe get a chat going outside the podcast, but do you remember Craig Sibbald's one against Hearts at Tynecastle?
Yeah.
And we burst Hearts' unbeaten run, didn't we? And Sibbs scored an absolute phenomenal finish that day. So, yeah, but I think Crunchy against Hearts. I'm going to go with that.
Do you know what was a cracker as well? Luke Leahy's against Hibs in the playoff. When you think of that, how sweetly he hit that, and I was right behind it. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful goal. There's plenty you could talk about.
I was actually going to say Sammy's third in his hat trick at Airdrie, early 1990s.
Oh, didn't he talk about it? Sammy, for God's sake. He never talks about that.
It was a great team goal, good passing, and the cross by Derek Williams for his header for the third one was absolutely brilliant goal.
Richard at Ibrox against.
Listen.
We can go on right here, don't we, really?
I know. Get in touch with us. Let us know your favourite Falkirk goal, and we'll read some of them out on next week's podcast because there's plenty of them out there. Maybe it could have been Keelan Adams against Celtic. So let's talk about that game now. Right, so you guys were both there. I was working, so watched the first half on the telly, drove back from work, listened to it on the radio, punched the radio, switched off the radio when it went 3-0, and then got back in and it was 4-0, and then obviously Keelan Adams as well, getting the consolation goal for Falkirk. Where do we start with it? Let's start with 1,200 Bairns inside Celtic Park making a racket, Ross.
It was a really good crowd, actually. I know it wasn't as many as we took last year, but as we talked about in the podcast last week, Friday night, we are going to play them a few times this year. Celtic have now released their ticket prices for league games, £36, by the way. Absolutely.
That's wild.
So that's what they are. Bastards with an H there as well. But no, I think, phenomenal. And they didn't stop singing all the way through the game, and that for me, I know there was a Celtic fan giving us a bit of jibe on Twitter about it, but Keelan's goal aside, I think the fans just that was the other high point. They were just phenomenal from start to finish, and at one point, even when Celtic were leading by a few goals, it was the Falkirk fans that you were hearing, and I heard that from the people watching on TV as well, that it was the Falkirk fans that you could hear. So yeah, definitely. If it was for fans, input would have been potentially winning that game on Friday.
Two changes to the team. Alan, Ethan Ross, who found out this week, it sounds like it's going to be a bad injury to Ethan. I don't think we're going to see him this side of the year. But I mean, there's been nothing said, and I know John McGlynn spoke. If you've seen any of his interviews, saying he was going for a scan, but he didn't sound very optimistic about it. So that's bad news. If it's ankle ligament damage, I don't think we're going to see Ethan until the new year, which is a big worry. So he obviously dropped out the side. The other change that was made was Henry Cartwright coming in for Aidan Nesbitt. What did you make of that, Alan?
I like the look of him, actually, to be honest. I thought he was decent. We need a bit more physicality in the middle of the pack, I think, if I'm being honest. But he looked good. He looked good.
Yeah, but I mean, a very quiet game, I think, Ross, for the actual midfield. I don't think Brad Spencer affected the game, or Cartwright affected the game, or Dylan Tate. But then you look at the stats, like Celtic had 76% of the possession, which is absolutely frightening. You know what I mean? And that Brad's all about getting on the ball, using the ball, but they were just so up against it, weren't they? In that midfield, Callum McGregor, bloody hell! By the way, what an incredible you can see. Like, it always amazes me why Callum McGregor's not moved on, or a big club has not taken Callum McGregor, because he is just class. He really is just class, and he dominated that midfield on Friday night.
No, he did, and we didn't get a sniff, really. We at no point really was the ball under our control. Yeah, there was moments where we passed it about, and we did, probably not in areas that were really going to hurt them. But the midfield, probably more so than any other area, were probably touched the ball less. Certainly the defence had their night cut out. Scott Bain, as much as he's been criticised for a lot of things since he signed, kept us in it in the first half, especially.
Great save from Kieran Tierney.
Oh, phenomenal! At least three good saves in that first half, which I know we'll talk about a bit clearer. But and then I thought Ross McKeever did a fantastic job, considering he's what he was kind of given to him based on the midfield and the wingers. So yeah, it was. I liked the lineup when I saw it, because I thought, like Alan said,
would you have made any? Would there have been any change? Would you may have had someone like Arfield in, or
I would have started Scott just behind Ross McKeever.
Yeah,
but I didn't disagree with Henry Cartwright coming in. I thought actually that might work. The game kind of did pass him by a little bit, but I think in another game we might have seen more from him. But then we would have saw more from Dylan Tate, we would have saw more from Brad Spencer in probably another game. So, but I wasn't too critical of the lineup. When I saw it come through when we're on our route, I thought, yeah, listen, it is what it is, and we'll give it a go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What do you make of Dylan Tate in the 10, Alan?
I think I'd rather have Gary Oliver or Nizzy there, to be fair.
Yeah.
But, and I think we need a more physical person playing with Brad. I just feel I'm not convinced about Dylan Tate playing number 10. Maybe in the middle, but no, I like Niggy or Gary Oliver in that number 10 role.
Yeah. I mean, we started off. I mean, the first half. I mean, Celtic. I mean, I just read out his possession statistics there, but I mean, it was like it was only 1-0 in that first half. I mean, Arnie Engels obviously hit the post. We had the one or two chances though. Calvin Miller had an effort pushing post. The big, that he brought out a really good save in the goalkeeper, Sinisalo. We had a couple of pot shots, Ross McKeever, Alfie Argument, but we never, like you said, Ross, we never kind of affected the game or looked convincing when we were going forward.
No, the only long range effort I thought was worthwhile doing because his confidence with him was Ross McKeever's where the keeper obviously palmed it round the corner, right round the post. Beg your pardon. I was a wee bit critical of Alfie's attempt and Calvin's attempt because they had a bit more space than I think they realised. They could probably have driven in a little bit more, because the keeper. Since he's not a bad keeper, and really you're going to beat him from 30, like 25, 30 yards, probably not. I just think they could have went in a bit more, but Ross's one in the first half was probably the best attempt, and his confidence was growing as the more and he won every header on the night as well. So
But I thought Ross McKeever had a really solid game for us in terms of like his contribution up front, holding the ball. Like say, when he pretty much was winning everything in the air as well.
Yeah.
It's surprising when I looked at actually the BBC stats on the kind of the player ratings. It was actually Ross McKeever was right down there, and I thought he actually had a really good game. I don't know what you thought, Alan.
I agree. I think he did as well. I think do we need somebody in behind, like running in, kind of quick forward, maybe.
there was no one, certainly there was no one picking up his
Picking up his second ball and stuff, and I thought he was brilliant the other night.
The one thing that just got to us was the Celtic press, though. They were really quite aggressive in the press, and like, we got in half time 1-0, and you're like, right, okay, see out the first 10 minutes, and they did that. You thought, right, okay, now let's just work it a wee bit more, and then we got caught out with the press. It was coming. I felt it was always coming. Calvin Miller just stupidly caught in possession at the back, and the danger is when we play the game that Falkirk play, playing deep, playing out from the goalkeeper. And I have to say, Scott Bain's distribution I thought was fantastic. By the way, what a great throw he's got on him. He's incredible throwing him.
He's accurate with it as well.
Yeah,
as is Nicky, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, his distribution was pretty good on Friday night.
But we got through it, and I thought, let's hold out for 10 minutes here, and let's go from there. And we obviously, he looked like he was going to make the changes, and he had Aidan Nesbitt and Conor Allen ready to come on, and it looks like he was going to change things about. But then, obviously, Calvin Miller caught in possession, like there was 3 or 4 Celtic players around him. He was just trapped. Alistair Johnson nips in, gets the ball, and in fairness, it was a good finish. I don't think Scott Bain could have done much about it.
It was a good finish, but like we've talked about the week before against Livy, and if we're going to call out Lewis Nelson, we probably should call out Calvin. He was running into a dangerous area, and as you said, the press was just like we saw a different Celtic team on Friday night to what we saw last year, and I don't mean as in they were like 1,000 times better, but they had better players playing on Friday night than they had last year. They had a different game plan. They were closing us down really quick. They were the high press, as you said, and we just didn't adjust to it at all, unfortunately. And they were always going to punish you if they got chances, and they did.
Yeah, it's like it. I mean, it was a silly goal. It was just, again, we've talked about individual errors. Calvin getting caught in possession, and that's it. We tried to be too smart, and this thing is like Ross was having so much success up front. There's no harm in going long, and I think John in times has said, like, when you've got to go long, we do play direct. There's no harm.
We don't do it often enough, though, do we?
No, we don't do it often enough. And when you're trying to play it against the back and against Celtic in that press, like, it's a dangerous game, and we were caught out by it ultimately. then Christ, then it was like close your eyes and put your hands to your face and try and peek out for it, because then they went on, and in that 10 minutes after they got their second goal, it's 3-0, it's 4-0, and at that point you're going, oh Jesus Christ, this could be a long half an hour to go. But again, an avoidable goal for the Dane Murray's header. I would say, Dylan Tate, I don't know how it's ended up being a corner. We've seen how dangerous Arnie Engels' delivery was all night. Like his set pieces were on the point every time. So like we gave away a stupid corner, and then Dane Murray pretty much rises above. And I don't know what the marking was going, but it was just an easy header, too easy.
It was too easy, and it gave me the fear with half an hour to go.
Yeah.
And obviously, when, as you said, when they got the goal a few minutes later, obviously Hender's unlucky. It could have probably
he couldn't sort his feet out quick enough. The ball was just coming off.
It was nearly the second goal he'd scored. Obviously with the back pass in the first half.
Yeah,
that just from our angle looked as if it was like inches past the far post. Maybe it was a bit wider, John, from your TV angle, but. So it was a sore one, and at that point with 30 minutes left, you're thinking, shit, this is something's going to have to change here. And obviously we made a couple of changes at that point, which I think actually helped. Certainly the Scott Arfield coming on, it gave us a bit of calmness, I think.
Yeah, and we did get our consolation though, and we did have something to cheer on. Alan, Keelan Adams, who I thought again come up against Kieran Tierney and Dyson Maeda for a boy that was playing low in league a couple of seasons ago. I thought he did incredibly well, and a great goal from the young man, Alan.
I thought it was brilliant, It's great. The two of them attacking him at the same time. Got forward, scored a good goal, good play. But, ultimately.
Do you know, Alan? See, the thing is, to add to the praise that he's getting, and I hate to single him out for especially the first half. Alfie was not tracking back for large parts of that game, so Keelan was exposed to Maeda's pace. And I tell you one thing, very rarely did he get outpaced by Maeda. There was points where actually I think we left him quite open, which is probably not helpful. But I thought, again, with Ross McKeever, I thought Keelan was probably and Scott Bain that was our three standout players, and he deserved his goal, and it was a beautiful finish. I've watched it back countless times as well. I know it never meant anything, right? But we talked in the podcast last week about us having a moment, and obviously it wasn't a moment in terms of like taking the lead or equalising or anything like that. But for those that know as well, I had my 10-year-old with me, and I think she'd resigned herself to us not scoring, and it was just going to be a Celtic onslaught. And then when we scored, it was great to see. And the fans that are behind you now, John, like the young lads went absolutely berserk when that goal went in, and you would have thought that was 1 each, no 4-1. So, brilliant finish.
Yeah, no, it was a smashing goal, and like the first goal that Celtic have conceded this season as well. So that was that little feather in the cap as well for the Bairns. But yeah, I think the changes then from there on, there was a lot of chopping and changing, obviously, it just the game just kind of fizzled out after that, wasn't it? It was like it was very much like, we'll take the 4-1. Please don't score any more goals. We'll happily take the 4-1. Let's just see this out. Let's just shake hands right now. It felt a bit like that in the last half hour, I thought.
Did a little bit, yeah. Aye. But a lesson learned maybe, and how we're going to have to play this season, and we're going to have to learn on the job. I think John McGlynn said. So
we probably won't face a better team than Celtic, and that I'm not singling out Rangers as not being as good or Hearts not being as good.
They aren't. That's
the thing. So and we have lost on Friday night, right? But we know where our gaps are. John's trying to bring in 3 or 4 players of starting quality as he wants. So hopefully we get those in before the Aberdeen game, and that gives us the best possible chance ahead of Aberdeen to try and get 3 points on the board for the first time.
Yeah. We'll maybe talk about it a wee bit more, but Where, like, when you talk about is he going to get? I mean, we've talked about one or two players coming in, Ross. Is he going to have the money to bring in three or four?
I think he will. I think he will. I think he will now.
I mean, the names we're hearing, like the names that appeared heard during the week. Tyler Fletcher from Manchester United was Dan Fletcher's young laddie. That's a name that's doing the rounds. It's Ben Patterson, I think, from Newcastle is the other name.
Something like that, I've heard that.
Yeah, that's the two names that I've heard. Are you hearing anything else, Ross?
No, I've not. And I think, obviously, Falkirk signings, by and large, are generally kept under wraps. So I don't know if these names are. I know the papers were talking about the lad Sorrow that was at Celtic, and then John McGlynn rubbished that in his pre-match press conference, saying not true at all. There must be someone, because there was a picture put on social media of a player that didn't look like any other player we've got so far. So someone must have been there, whether it's a trialist or otherwise. But I think we are needing, and I think he will. I think he'll wheel and deal between now and the end of the window. I wouldn't be shocked if one or two players potentially also come on loan for Celtic. I think that will happen.
Do you think that's happening? Like, I know you sort of put in our group chat, you've heard that there's two players coming on loan. And, like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be young lads? Because they've obviously got a cooperation deal, haven't they? With
Well, they do, but I think that's more for the academy structure. I think, two players that are certainly been on previous loans to lower opposition is obviously the centre back and Dave Murray, and obviously the striker Kenny. So I think these are two players.
There's no chance they'll come. I mean, I'd be amazed. Like those two players have just signed long-term deals at Celtic.
They have, but they're not going to be starters anytime.
Well, you think Ida? I mean, Celtic supporters are slagging Ida. Johnny Kenny, in all fairness, didn't do much against us. I don't think. I mean, listen, if you get Dave Murray, I thought was really good when he played for Queen's Park last season. And then you speak to the boys over at Spiders Talk podcast, they were raving about him, saying how good he had been for them. Listen, two players that would ultimately go straight into the squad, 100% first team, like Johnny Kenny and Dave Murray, they go straight in. But I can't see it. I really can't see it. I mean, why would Celtic, effectively give two?
I think it depends, John. On I think it might also depend on Celtic's business between now and the window as well. Because
if they bring in our striker, that's fine. And obviously, it's centre half. Who have they got? They've got the boy Trusty, Carter Vickers. I mean.
Yeah,
Scales.
they've got a few there. Yeah, they've got a few there. I just don't see. And listen, it might not be either of these boys. Obviously, these are just names that have been rumoured previously and recently as well. And then you've got the English names. We won't know because the club have been so good at keeping players' identities under wraps in terms of who we're signing. Do I trust John to bring them in? Yes, I do.
They've got 2 weeks. I think. Well, we've got 2 weeks until our next game. In fact, it's pretty much 2 weeks until the transfer window closes as well. We do need bodies in though. Like when you look at the injury list, when you look at certainly wingers, you're talking about a centre half and a striker there. Jesus Christ, Alfie's an impact player, right? He's not a starter, certainly not in the Premiership.
100%.
He's an impact player. He's a finisher, right? You bring him on when the legs are tired at 20 minutes and it's 0-0. That's when Alfie has his best impact. Brian Graham, but I think Ross McKeever's established himself in the last couple of games as number 9 just because he's, and maybe Brian Graham's a finisher as well. I mean, I think, Scott Arfield, I think we said probably should have started that game as well because it's just Scott Arfield who can make things happen. In and around the box, Scott's going to make things happen. But yeah, it's certainly, I would say, wingers were probably not one, probably 2 wingers.
I think 2 wingers.
If Cole's still no word on Cole or Tom either in terms of when they're returning as well. And John said that they won't be back. It doesn't appear anytime soon. And in fact, somebody told me that Cole had the same injury as Jamie Seddon, and I was like, we've not seen Jamie Seddon for a year.
Yeah. And you've got to bear in mind, we've only got 2 natural centre halves just now, and one of which, when we play Hearts in about a month's time, can't play.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
I mean, I guess Connor Allen, I thought when he played centre half in pre-season, I think he looked actually half decent at centre half. He's a bit of a utility player, you know. He came on, you know, he's got played midfield against Celtic really, and then he played right back, and so he's like a definite utility player. But I'll be interested to see. But yeah, a left back. I mean,
well, I don't know. I don't
you've
know.
got Mackie and McCann. McCann started. I think
Right.
McCann's been started the season really well.
I
And
agree.
you've got Mackie.
I don't know if I would at left back. I think that would be a wasted signing. The now. See
So
if
your
you're,
wish list is centre half, striker, two wingers.
and if I was being greedy, like a dirty midfielder like Davy Nichols. If I was being
Paddy Craig,
aye,
little Rottweiler.
yeah.
Totally agree. Number 6, just across the middle of the park.
I think Brad needs that alongside him. Obviously Dylan's fantastic. You know, that's why I was trying to. I'd love to see him utilised in the 10 maybe, because he's a great footballer. But when you're in games against that, like, you need someone like I thought when I heard Sorrow's name being mentioned, I was getting like, well, that could be the kind of player that we really need. Like he's a dirty bastard. Like he put for. I mean, you speak to Celtic supporters, and like he put himself about when he was at Celtic, and absolutely, I think he had a couple of red cards, yellow cards. But that's what we need. You know what I mean? We need
That is what 100%. That's what we need.
We need that alongside Brad, to let Brad, you know, just that person do all the dirty work, and Brad doesn't have to think about that, and he can just gather the ball and do Brad Spencer things. But yeah, like, because Henry Cartwright, you know, he's a big lad, he's a big unit, but I don't know if he's got the mentality, or you know what I mean by that. It's like he doesn't have that kind of. Well, maybe we've not seen it yet, but like that, I just remember when I watched Paddy Craig for the first time in a Falkirk jersey, and just like, Jesus Christ, who's this kid? He just absolutely put himself about the place. It doesn't seem that Henry has that kind of. He seems like he's more akin to being like Brad Spencer, you know, and getting his head up, picking up the ball and looking for passes forward. But I do just think we need a Rottweiler in there as well. So, and big, tall, 6'2", massive. These players don't grow on trees though, so we'll wait and see. But there's a lot of business to be done by Mr. McGlynn. But let's hear what he had to say after the match.
John, clearly a difficult one tonight. How would you sum up how the game went?
Let's start with the fans. The fans are brilliant. Huge thank you to the fans that came in here tonight and sang their heart out. I'm absolutely so proud of you guys. So thanks for staying right to the end and applauding the players' effort. It was a difficult game. I think it was always going to be. I think we tried to stay in the game as long as we could. We obviously tried to create a threat at the same time, which was shown with the shot that, you know, Calvin had a great shot and the goalie made a great save, and equally with Ross McKeever's shot. And so in the first half it's 1-0. Again, maybe we could have done something about the goal. You know, and they got a little bit more pressure on the ball as I kind of like headed to, you know, chip to the back area, header back in. Can we get to the ball, stop the ball coming in? Can we compete for the header? And then Maida ends up, you know, free in the box. So, you know, bits and pieces there. The second and third goal, again, we've actually got possession of the ball. We lose the ball deep in our own half. So we need to take care of the ball better. Celtic are very good at closing you down, they're pressing you. The game is played at a much quicker pace than what we've been used to. That's a telling factor. But, you know, that comes with being able to go and buy players at millions of pounds, so you get quality and you get speed and you get energy and you get athleticism. And, you know, I think that was a big factor tonight. Free header from a corner kick. So the goals, we were a little bit of a maker of our own downfall to a certain extent, but were Celtic worthy of that kind of scoreline? Yeah, I think they were overall, with the amount of, you know, chances that they had, opportunities. But we have to learn from it. We will learn from that, because obviously it's better probably happening in a cup tie than in league games. So we will have to come back here, you know, hopefully twice, and look to do better.
2 minutes 17 on McGlynn Watch, short and sharp this week from him for that question. He said it all, Daly. I think he knew we were nowhere near Celtic. You know, it was very, very different from last season.
It was a tough night at points. But he's right. They moved the ball about very quickly, which is what we've not seen so far in the Premiership. 2 games that we've played. But we don't need to play Celtic every week, thankfully.
Thank God. Thank God.
And what I would say though is I do think our game, and I know we're only going to have we got 1 game at Celtic Park or 2?
We've got one. We've got. Oh, hold on. That's a good question.
No, if we're playing them at home in December, which I think we are, then we must have 2 away games minimum against them. So, yeah. So listen, I think that the home game might be tighter because it's a different ball game because you're in a small stadium. You've got the fans, 90% of which are home fans. That might make no difference to Celtic whatsoever. But I think it probably will be a different sort of test at home. I don't think there's many teams we'll fear at home. We'll give it a go and we'll see how we do. But certainly games like Friday night, there will be times where we're tested really heavily. We talked about this last week. If we were going to do it well on Friday night, we needed to defend really, really well and take our chances when they came. We didn't do either of those things, unfortunately, and we've paid the price for it.
Yeah, our chances we created were half chances as well. So
yeah.
Let's see what you guys had to say about the game. Danny kicks us off saying, "Shot to nothing, forget it, and use this impromptu break in fixtures to bolster the squad and face up to reality."
Indeed. Craig says Celtic can do that to anyone. The worrying thing is we're making the same mistakes over and over again. It's Groundhog Day. We never got away with it versus Livingston or Dundee United, and definitely wouldn't and didn't get away with it on Friday night.
Yeah, true. Graham McKechnie, the harbinger of doom himself. You'll know him if you're on the COYB Facebook page. Graham's got in touch, says, "No surprises, players coming in are now a priority. We need more than 3 men against boys yet again."
Did he mean that pun? Was it boys with an H or?
No, he's actually just put boys.
Dave says Celtic's press put us on the back foot. The movement off the ball was too good for us to cope. We fought hard and deserved our goal. Tremendous backing from the fans. The injuries are hurting us, and we definitely need fresh blood into the team.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries are, I think certainly at the back, when you're missing, Cole, his influence, and you're missing, backup for, Tom, you're missing that. And you're also missing, I guess, it'd be interesting to see Barney Stewart at this level as well and see what Barney had, because Barney's fast, he's big, he's strong, he's hold up, and it'd just be interesting to see him in this environment. So
his dad was up on Friday night.
Was he?
Yeah, he had dropped me a text asking where I was sitting, but I didn't get a chance to see him. Actually, I think he is in your picture. See, above your shoulder, there's a guy standing above the exit.
Yes.
Right. See, there's a red shirt. I think that's Pete. I think that's where he was sitting.
Barney's dad.
Barney's dad.
Shout out to Barney's dad. Logan says, attacking wise, we still look sharp enough. The issue is mistakes at the back. These boys have done great to get us here, but it's clear they need more quality around them to unlock full potential. Next few weeks are massive in terms of signings.
Indeed. Tam says, different gravy in opposition tonight. Notwithstanding the injury list, lessons must be learned if we are to survive the league, and we need experience backed up with physicality into the squad now. If not, it may be a fleeting appearance in the top flight.
I think we really do need that Premiership experience into the side. I think that's really what we're missing, because some of our boys have had Premiership experience. Obviously, Arfield, Brian Graham had a wee bit of it, but the rest are pretty much, maybe had fleeting appearances when they were youngsters in the Premiership, but we just need I just keep going on about, I just need lots of big guys, just big guys. Look at St Mirren, look at Livingston, you know what I mean? It's just Kilmarnock, there's another side that just bring in these big fucking guys. Lumps, and we just need a bit of that. Tam there, FFCK 55, League One way below our level, Championship. League One way below, yeah. Teams the same level as us, Premier League so far, need to adapt. This is making no sense at all, Tam, FFCK. League One way below our level, Championship teams the same level as us, Premier League so far, need to adapt. Some of our fans think we're Barcelona. We played a team who have spent millions on players at the home ground. Saying that, our defence is vulnerable and needs sorted. I kind of got there. We got there.
Yeah. We got there. And finally, Nicky says Ross McKeever is class. Every player put a shift in. We are creating chances against the best team in the country. Alfie looks to have lost a little bit of confidence, so that game tonight won't define our season.
It won't. It absolutely 100% won't define the season. It was a kind of free hit. We got the money. We didn't get 100% pumped. So let's get out of Dodge and let's go again, as they always say. We'll see how we do. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, the next 2 weeks are going to be real interesting. We need to see that pen emoji, Ross. We really need to see that pen emoji coming out.
Yeah, we do. And but listen, we're not saying anything John McGlynn's not said. We need a bit of help, and it sounds like he's trying. And the money from Friday night, the 40-odd thousand crowd, it will be very helpful to that.
I hope so. Right, okay, Alan. Like, who are we going for a Falkirk Daft rated player? Who are you going to kick us off with?
For the Celtic game, I would say probably Leon McCann.
Leon McCann? Interesting. Ross?
I've been hovering between Bain, Adams and McKeever, but I'm going to go with Keelan for his finish. Apart from anything else, I thought he handled Maeda very, very well. So I'm going to go with Keelan Adams. Just while I remember Maeda, shout out to the Ultras when Maeda did score, and obviously the tannoy played the Tequila song, and it was actually the Falkirk fans who were doing all the waving and dancing and shouting.
And
the Celtic fans on the side are just going, what he's doing. You could just tell that's what they were thinking. But shout out to the Ultras for that.
Shout out McKeever, love that. Absolutely. I might go with you and Keelan Adams. Just fantastic goal, and I thought admirable to deal with Maeda, one of the best players in the country, and Kieran Tierney, who was playing for Arsenal last season, when Kieran was playing for Cumbernauld Colts. And I thought he did a really, really good job. And again, he's going to be a player that, if he keeps going the way he's doing this season, he'll be away at the end of the season, hopefully for a lot of money as well. I can't see him lasting very long, because he ticks every box in terms of the modern game and what a right back does. So yeah, Keelan Adams for me. Dafty, who gets the Dafty award for this week?
It was a tough night at points, but the one player I think could have done more defensively, and I think you heard John McGlynn maybe talking about it as well at one point. I'm going to say Alfie. It wasn't his best night, and I thought he exposed Keelan, especially in the first half. I thought he exposed him quite a lot.
What are you thinking, Alan?
Actually, I thought Lewis Mason, first 2 or 3 games, he's put a mistake, I think, and it's making Hendo cover him a little bit, and we're getting caught out in that position, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ross on this one. I think Alfie just left Keelan a bit too much exposed. And, you know, when he was just doing silly things when he was going forward with the ball as well. So sorry, Alfie, we'll love you. But yeah, just Dafty of the week for Alfie this week, unfortunately. Right then, okay, Celtic's done. Aberdeen next. We'll have the preview show, as I say, a week on Thursday. That'll be coming out. But first, before we let you go, Alan, we've got to do Falkirk Daft Versus. And Ross is doing the questions. So you're up against me.
I am. You're up against John today, Alan. So just a reminder, penalty shootout style quiz. Alan, don't shout out your answer until John has got something written down, and John will show his answer as well, because he's writing his down. So we've got five questions, obviously, plus a tiebreaker. You will see quite quickly the theme tonight, but I have put a wee "Who am I?" type.
Oh, you liked that last week? You're bringing it back on me. I see what you've done there.
So, question number 1. Both ready?
Yep.
So, question number 1. Who is the last player to join Falkirk from Aberdeen? Who is the last player to join Falkirk from Aberdeen?
I've got some written down.
You've got something written down. So, Alan, come to you. Who are you saying?
John Stewart.
You're thinking John Stewart, so that's gone back quite a bit.
That's a wee bit back.
Also written down John Stewart.
Wow. Okay, I thought this was an easier question than it is. So it's a bit closer than that. And It was Finn Yates.
Of course. But then he was
Of course.
released. He was released from Aberdeen.
I never said signed from. I
Right. Okay. Yeah.
we also had Michael Ruth, who
Of course, on loan.
who was on
that.
loan for
Yeah.
Aberdeen. So it's still 0-0. See, I thought that was an easier one than that. But question number 2: what season did we last play Aberdeen? And this could be any fixture. Okay, what season did we last play Aberdeen? So it's season rather than year.
Jesus.
I'm looking for.
I'm trying to think. It's a cup game.
So what season did we last play Aberdeen?
I'm stabbing in the dark here. I've written some down.
You've got something written down. Okay, Alan, what are you going for?
I'm thinking 2007-8.
You're thinking 2007/8.
I went
John?
12-13.
12-13. Neither of these are off the mark as yet. It was a friendly, and it was season 2018-19. It was Paul Hartley.
Fucking it, a friendly.
Oh,
It was a friendly. Yeah,
You can't have a friend. You can't be calling friend.
Of course you can. It's a game, isn't it? And I did say any type of game. It was a friendly, and weirdly, it was a home game for Falkirk, but it was played up at Arbroath midweek.
that's not a home game.
That was their home game. I don't know why it wasn't played at Falkirk, but 900 fans, according to Better Medal, were there. Okay, we've got a question. So question number 3 is who am I? And please do let me finish before anyone shouts out the answer. Okay,
Yeah.
So who am I? I made over 260 league appearances and I scored 65 goals. I represented clubs in both England and Scotland. I began my career with Bournemouth and later played for Portsmouth with loan spells at Exeter City and Sheffield United. However, I am best known for my time in the Scottish Premier League, where I played for Dundee, Aberdeen and Falkirk. Who am I? So 260 league appearances, 65 goals.
Not for Falkirk, 260 league appearances just in general.
260 league appearances across his career.
Right, okay.
Played for Portsmouth, started his career at Bournemouth, played for Portsmouth, Exeter and Sheffield United. However, he is best known for being in the Scottish Premier League with Dundee, Aberdeen and Falkirk. If he's needed an additional clue and both happy to get the additional clue,
I've got an answer.
You've got an answer, right? I can't give it then. Okay. Alan,
I've not got an answer.
going to come at you. No, you're not sure?
It was no.
No. Okay. John?
Former Mr. McDonald, Amy McDonald's better half, Stevie Lovell.
It was Steve Level. That's one. The additional clue was I was going to say he had a famous ex-girlfriend.
There you go. Do you know what I remember when Stevie Lovell played for us, I knew Amy through working in radio industry, and I always bumped into her at Falkirk matches, and anytime she was going recording a session or whatever, would chat away about Falkirk. Always remember that.
Oh, she's married to a footballer.
Ricky Foster. There
we go. Yeah. Okay, so it's 1-0 to Falkirk Daft. Okay, question number 4. Who would have been the goalkeeper for Falkirk the last time the sides met in the Premier League? So who would have been the goalkeeper for Falkirk the last time the sides met in the Premier League?
I have written something down here. I don't know if it's right.
Alan, come to you.
Scott Higgins.
You're thinking Scott Higgins. John McInally.
Bobby Alechnik.
Falkirk Daft, and John takes the win.
Yes!
That Champions League.
An ugly win, but I'll take it. I'll absolutely 100% take it for that one. Well done. We'll take that. Well done. Falkirk Daft. What's the score for the season? I think I've not lost one of them.
I don't think Falkirk Daft lost. Well, not one of the competitive ones, because are we including the one where we did with Jamie?
Nah, that was a pre-season friendly, mate. That was a pre-season friendly. Brilliant. All right, nice one, Alan. Thanks so much for coming on
No
Falkirk
problem.
Daft. If you want to be a guest pundit, drop us a line. You can do that by just hitting us up an email. The details are below. As I say, we are not back on Thursday with a preview podcast, Ross, because we've got no game. So we've got a free weekend, so we can all go to the pub. Yeah, all the wives are like that. Brilliant. I've said I'm taking my wife out for a date, so I'm being the good guy this Saturday, taking my wife out to up the town. You know,
Yeah.
I'll show the lights, taking her behind the wall. I was like back at it behind the wall, just my normal Saturday then. So yeah, we'll have a free Saturday, so no Thursday episode, but we'll be back next month. No, in fact, we won't be back next Monday. We'll be back a week on Thursday to preview the Aberdeen game with our friend Sheepy, who's going to join us on. We'll need to talk Sheepy. There's so many questions they've got this for this guy. He's the most well-travelled football fan in Scotland,
Aberdeen, Stennismuir, actually Falkirk games he goes to as
yeah,
well.
unbelievable. He was there at the last game of the season, so he's unbelievable. So we'll preview the game with him. But in the meantime, if you want to buy merch, check out merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk or pintsandprints.co.uk. We've got loads of t-shirts up there and bucket hats if we're still in Oasis fever. Apple, Spotify, you'll get our podcast there. Please rate, review. It helps with the algorithm and gets us up into people's feeds and all that, so do that. And watch us on YouTube if you want. You'll get us at youtube.com/@FalkirkDaft. Check us out there. And if you want to get in touch with anything, you can drop us an email at any point, John or Ross at falkirkdaft.co.uk, and get on the Discord, have a chat about Falkirk while the podcast isn't on. That would be smashing. Alan, thanks again once again for being our guest. We will see you on the next one, but until that time, Ross,
Expect the unexpected. More the Bairns.
We're Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bear, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.